Hey guys, JV here with a commentary comparing the Kett and the Reapers. As the story progresses in Andromeda, it's clear that BioWare was inspired by the Reapers when creating the lore and the story behind the Kett. In this video, we'll look at key similarities and differences between the two, focusing mainly on Exaltation versus Indoctrination. We will be discussing key plot points across Andromeda and the original trilogy, so definitely expect spoilers throughout this video. Let's start with the Kett and Exaltation. So according to Dr. Lexi Topero, over the course of the story, when she gains a Kett specimen to research because she's, an alien species specialist, she checks them out and finds out that they cannot reproduce. Now this is important because we don't know exactly why Exaltation started. There is some speculation based on some information we get in the game, but the truth is we don't have the exact reason why the Kett turned to Exaltation. They didn't have it before at some point, and I'm sure this is something they'll explore in possible future sequels, but as of now we know that Exaltation played an important role in unifying the Kett under one empire, and they do have a homeworld in another cluster in the Andromeda Galaxy that we haven't visited yet, that we don't even know about. By using their advanced experience and knowledge, the Kett add genes from other species that they put through Exaltation into their own genome to improve themselves, and this is a process that they call harmonization. When we visit the Kett facility on Vold, we see that the Kett use a serum. They have developed a serum and some kind of needle that they jab into other species, which converts them into Kett. This is how they're able to quickly mobilize, capture other species, and transform them through the process of Exaltation. Also in that facility, we discovered that a lot of the Kett soldiers, the Chosen and the Anointed, are Angara that have been transformed to serve the Kett. And those soldiers don't seem to have individual minds. They don't seem to operate on their own convictions. They are made to serve the Kett, and that is what they do. And that contrasts from the Archon and the Primus, who seem to have free will. However, we see that the Archon, changes his strategy and kind of goes and deviates away from the Kett's primary directive in Helios, goes after the remnant technology. And so I think it's fair to say that some of the more pure blood, I don't know if that's the correct terminology for this, some of the more pure Kett do have their own motivations and aren't controlled like the Exalted. Also, it's not just the Angara that are being transformed into Kett soldiers. That's the majority of the people we fight, because we know that the Kett arrived before the Andromeda Initiative and wiped out a vast majority of the Angara, kidnapped them, and exalted a lot of them to fight for them. So we are fighting a lot of transformed Angara in Andromeda. However, we also see the Calirion, I don't know exactly how to say that, and the Irox, animals, different species have been transformed into Kett versions of themselves. We also encounter a Kett Krogan called the Berserker, and this one is not perfected yet because this one will attack both Kett and Milky Way species, enemies of the Kett. So they haven't exactly perfected that one, but they are certainly broadening their horizons and grabbing all of the genes from as many species as they can to improve their own race. I wish we knew more about the Kett, and I'm sure they're saving some of this stuff for later games like they did in the original trilogy. We just know a lot more about the Reapers because we have the whole original trilogy to draw from. This is all we know about Exaltation up to this point. We'll explore a few more details about the Kett once we compare the two, but now let's shift our focus over to the Reapers. They control other species, specifically organics, through the process of indoctrination, and any organic that goes close to Reapers themselves or Reaper technology begin to serve them. Oftentimes, this process devolves into the organics becoming mindless slaves, doing everything they can to serve the Reapers and not having their own free will. The Reapers are so advanced in their control of this process that they can actually speed or slow it depending on what serves them best, and the subject that they are indoctrinating actually believes they are still in control when they are not. Saren and the Elusive Man are perfect examples of this. Similarly to Exaltation, indoctrination is permanent. It's almost impossible to reverse this process. Once it's done, there's nothing you can do about it. Through the Collectors, the Reapers also capture different species and genetically modify them. There's a lot of genetic experimentation and implanting of cybernetics in different species. The case for this is the Collectors. They were Protheans that were repurposed for the Reapers' use. That's what we see in on large scale in Mass Effect 2, going to different human colonies and capturing them and bringing them back so the Reapers can repurpose them to use like tools. The result is a synthetic organic slave whose only purpose is to serve the Reapers, and the general term for that is husk. However, they turn lots of different species into husks across the original trilogy, and you see a lot more different mutations of that in Mass Effect 3. So we have humans, which are just called husks. Then we have Asari Ardat-Yakshis, Krogan, Turians, Batarians, Rachni, all being repurposed by the Reapers to use against their original species. And we see a few instances of this transformation process via the pods, which you see on the Collector ship and the Collector base near the center of the Milky Way Galaxy. We learn that the Reapers' motivations are at a much grander scale compared to the Kett, and maybe that's not fair because we don't know a lot about the Kett so far in the first game. Maybe they'll expand upon that, but man, the Reapers every 50,000 years, harvesting Leviathans, all of that is established. Now let's draw some direct comparisons. We can clearly tell that exaltation and indoctrination are methods used by each of these species to control their enemies like slaves. They repurpose them and then turn them into one of their own and use it to attack their enemies. The details are certainly different. Indoctrination seems to be more subtle. It can be controlled at a different rate depending on whatever serves the Reapers best, compared to exaltation, which is instantaneous. We see that at a Kett facility. We witness an Angara being injected with the serum and instantly turn into a Kett soldier. They both participate in genetic manipulation. The Kett use it, however, to enhance themselves and improve their species because they can't reproduce traditionally. They have to go through harmonization like we discussed, whereas the Reapers don't modify themselves, they modify their enemies. That's why you see so many different versions of husks using different species. They repurpose that stuff to use against their enemies. Now, of course, you could point to harvesting and using the genetic material of species that the Reapers have captured and putting that into a brand new Reaper that is born after every single cycle. That is similar enough to the Kett using other species' genetic material to enhance themselves. Again, the difference is in the details and the motivations for that. Another difference that I've found between the two are the Kett themselves seem to have free will. This is what I talked about before with the pure blood. We see in the game that the Archon decides to pursue motives outside of his directive in the Helios cluster. We know that the Kett have a central empire, a central command that gave him orders from somewhere else in the Andromeda Galaxy. Still same galaxy, but different cluster that we don't know about yet. Because of his fascination with remnant technology, which by the way was totally well-founded. I mean, in the end, the guy was really right. He just failed because of Ryder and whatnot. But because of that fascination, he betrays the main motivations of the Kett, and that's when we see the Primus, who is loyal to the Kett's motivations, betraying him. Whether you take that deal or not, you see the Primus at the very end after the Archon is defeated, kind of in a, foreshadowing for the sequel. The Primus is going to be something you have to deal with. Compared to the Reapers, there isn't much dissension, if any, between their ranks. It is a very central purpose. It's to complete the harvesting cycle, and this really leads us to the ideological differences between the Kett and the Reapers. Again, unfortunately, we just don't have enough information about the Kett yet to make this determination. If there's a larger, grander plan like the Reapers have, we don't know yet, but we do know that exaltation for the Kett is considered a sacred ritual, and the facility that we visit is actually a temple. It's a holy, sacred ground where they perform this thing that they really consider the ascension of their race. That's what it is, at least on the surface. There could be grander motivations that we don't know about yet. Switching over to the Reapers now, we know everything about their ideological motives. We know that the catalyst was created by the Leviathans as the solution to organic synthetic conflicts in the Milky Way, and the catalyst created the Reapers in the image of the Leviathans, and they perform their ritual, which is the harvesting. Every 50,000 years they harvest all advanced synthetic and organic life, and that harvested technology and knowledge is stored in immortal Reapers and used to create new, more advanced Reapers. Now that's a summary, but I think it's a good look at generally what the Reapers do and why they do it. I'm sure there are many more little comparisons that we could make, but I think we can say that the Kett and the Reapers are super similar in a lot of ways, in the way they control other species, use them against themselves through exaltation and indoctrination. They repurpose other species. They do all kinds of nefarious things and need to be stopped, at least in the view of the protagonist, in order for their civilization to continue and to flourish into the future. We can find many differences in the details and how they carry out their goals, and of course in the size and scale between the Reapers and the Kett, but I think we need to know more about the Kett. I'd love to hear what you all think about these two species and how they compare in the comment section below. Again, this isn't a statement or anything, I just thought it was an interesting topic that I wanted to explore and share with you all. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, be sure to hit that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe for a few more Andromeda commentaries. I've got topics like the Jardan and the Remnant, exploring, what we know about them and what that means for the future of this series if we do get more games, and also a general recap of the story. I think a lot goes on and it's easy to get lost in what actually happened over the course of the main missions because of how non-linear it's presented in this open world game. So anyways, if you're interested in those, be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you next time.